Good afternoon, everybody. Today I am going to be making John Wayne casserole. It's something I haven't made before. It is an old recipe, so hopefully it will turn out good. What you're going to need is you're going to need to make you some biscuits, or I just use, you could use the Grand's biscuits for your base. You're going to need to put this on the bottom of a 9 by 13 pan. You're going to need some diced tomatoes and green chilies, or rotel will work. A pound to a pound and a half of ground meat. You're going to need onions and bell pepper, or you can use a seasoning blend, which is what I use, which has onions and your bell peppers and celery in it. It's just easier and cheaper in the long run to me. You're going to need some salt. I'm going to be putting salt, pepper, some garlic seasoning, and a little bit of chili powder because I don't have a full thing of the taco seasoning. I used a little bit of it not too long ago. And for the creamy top, you're going to need some sour cream, mayo, and sharp and cheddar jack is what I'm going to use. I'm going to shred this up. So I'm going to get started with the meat first, and we're going to go from there. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is you're going to brown your meat. And you can saute, if you have like fresh veggies, and you want to saute them first so they will soften a little bit easier, then that would be, that's fine. I just like to add it to my meat to season the meat. But you're going to put in about an onion and half a bell pepper, the red and the green, if that's what you're going to use. And then I'm going to put in some salt. I ran out of salt in my shaker, so don't judge me. I had this from Christmas. But anyway, so you're just going to sprinkle you some salt over the top. And then you're going to put you some pepper. Don't use a whole lot of salt at this point because your taco seasoning is very, very salty. So you're going to want to cook your meat and then, check out as far as your seasonings if you need to add a little bit more salt. And then you're going to put some garlic. And I'm going to add a little bit chili powder. Okay. All right, I'm going to get this stirred up. We're going to get this all browned together, and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so once you get your meat browned and your veggies are clear, you're going to add your taco seasoning. And to the taco seasoning, you're going to add a half a cup of water, or what I just usually do is I just add a container of the water in here. Now, I used a lean hamburger meat. So I didn't drain it, but if you used, a real fatty hamburger meat, which is fine, just drain it so you don't have, too much excess oil in it. So I'm going to let this just cook for just a minute, and then we're going to add in our tomatoes. Okay, so after a minute or two, when you see that it's kind of starting to thicken up, you're going to add your tomatoes to it, or your rotel. If you have just canned tomatoes, you can add canned tomatoes and chilies. But, of course, it's just easier just to do it this way. Okay. Now, I think that if you had, like, salsa, salsa would be something good to kind of add a little bit extra flavor to it. And you don't drain these. Again, I didn't have a full thing of the taco seasoning mix, so I think I'm going to add a little bit more. Add some chili powder to this. So I'm going to kind of just let it simmer a little bit, and then I'm going to taste it and see what I need to add. Okay, it's been 3 minutes and I tasted it, and I think it does need a little bit more seasoning. So that's why you really don't add a whole lot in the beginning, because you don't want to get it too salty. And I think if I had had a full pack of the taco seasoning, I wouldn't have to add too much more. But I'm adding a little bit more chili powder, some garlic, and some salt. I'm going to turn this down to a medium, cover it, and let it simmer for about 3 minutes, and then I'll taste it again. While that's finished and simmering, we're going to make our creamy top. And to do that, you're going to use a cup of mayo, a cup of sour cream, and this is full fat. And then we're going to put in, I shredded the cheddar jack. And I would suggest a sharp cheddar. It just has a better flavor. So you're going to put about half of this in here. Okay. You're going to save the rest for the top. All right. And then we're going to put a little mayo and, a little salt and pepper just to kind of season it up a little bit. Okay. I gotta find my salt again. And again, this is just a little bit. You don't want to use too much. All right, we're going to stir this up and we're going to set it to the side. And then we are going to get our pan ready, okay? Okay, so while that's finishing up, we're going to get the pan ready. And you're just going to lightly spray the bottom. And as I've said many times, I'm in my tiny home now, and so my kitchen, I don't have a whole lot of space. So excuse everything being kind of scrunched up here. So what you're going to do is you're going to layer your biscuits on the bottom of a 9 by 13 pan. And you're going to have to kind of squish these to make the base, but just kind of get them layered out. I'm going to get these layered and squished so that it covers the bottom, and I'll be right back. Okay, so once you have this on the bottom, and you're going to have to kind of push these together and pinch where it needs to be, you're just going to take your meat and you're going to layer it over the biscuits, okay? Now you need some of the juice here, so you know, don't be afraid of that. Now you don't want it too soggy. I couldn't find my slotted spoon, so I'm having to use it this way. But if you have a slotted spoon, use that so you don't put too much juice. Now you don't want it to be completely dry, but you know, you don't want it excessively wet either. So let me get this all layered out, and then we will go to the next step. Okay, so once you have that all layered out, you're going to just take your creamy mixture and you're going to kind of just drop it in there, because you're going to have to smooth this out. So just kind of put you some dollops around so that you can smooth it. Okay, I'm going to get this on here. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so you're going to want to gently spread this so that you don't lose that creamy layer. So just kind of like gently push it around so that you kind of get it covered here, okay? Okay, so once you have that done, you're going to take the rest of your cheese and you're going to sprinkle it over the top. And something I didn't say is to thinly slice some tomatoes. You don't have to do this, but it's, you know, it looked like it would kind of dress it up and make it look a little bit prettier, and plus it'll kind of keep that moisture in the top instead of just drying it out. So I'm going to finish doing the cheese real quick. I might add a little bit extra cheese. I like mine really, I like a lot of cheese. Okay, so I had some frozen cheddar, so I just threw that over the top, and then I've layered out my tomatoes. So I'm going to take this over to the big oven next door. It goes in the oven at 350 degrees, uncovered, for 30 to 45 minutes. I'm going to check it in 30 minutes, and I will let y'all know exactly how long it takes. Okay, so I just got it out the oven. It needs to rest for about 5 minutes, and then I'll cut into it, and we're going to give it a try. Okay, so I got me a piece out. As you can see, the biscuit is done. It looks yummy. So I'm going to give me a bite. I'm gonna let it cool off just a second because it is kind of hot. It did take 30 minutes in the oven at 350. I don't think I said that, so. All right, so it's cooled off enough I can take me a bite. It is really good. Remember, if you don't like spicy food, using the Rotel with the green chilies, even though I used a mild, it is kind of spicy. So, if y'all have any questions, let me know. If not, enjoy, y'all.